I'm Harrison Graham. It is time for a Bears Now mailbag. Believe in Poles, how the turns table. Could Ryan Poles trade low on an aging Chiefs player and Chris Jones, kind of like he did with Joe Thuney last year? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because the Chiefs, once again, are probably going to have to make some big decisions, with their roster, with their salary cap situation. How do they view next year with Mahomes coming off ACL? He said recently he expects to be ready to week one, but we'll see if that turns out. Chris Jones is probably not in his peak form anymore. That being said, from an interior pass rushing standpoint, he's still one of the best in the league. At or near the top of the league in pressure. Still had 7 sacks last year. PFF had him as a top 3 highest graded pass rushing defensive tackle. Might have still been the highest, actually. He was 1 or 2. Jeffrey Simmons was the other one, I think. 90.7. Now his run defensive grade dipped to like 45. So he's not going to stuff the run in there. But if you were going to trade for Chris Jones, which in the right circumstances I'd be open to, you do need to have a good run defender next to him. So, who is that? That's probably not Trevon Dexter, right? Grady Jarrett, I think down the stretch did well against the run, so maybe he's the answer there, even though he's not a true nose tackle. I do think a big challenge here would be the salary cap. If the Chiefs trade him, the incoming team that gets him, so the Bears in this case, would take on a $35 million cap hit because it's salary plus roster bonus, which is $16 million. Now, could the Chiefs convert that roster bonus, then trade him, or maybe the Bears rework his deal once they trade for him? You could figure that out, but I'd have a hard time thinking that 32-year-old Chris Jones, the Bears would want him playing on a $35 million cap hit. So we'll see. I could see the Chiefs turning the page on Chris Jones and saying, hey, been an awesome 10 years, but we're looking to go younger. And look, he is still an unreal pass rusher. If you put him next to Montez Sweat, that's a pretty formidable 1-2 punch on this defensive line. Again, you would just need a good run defending defensive tackle next to him. Would you trade? Let's call it a middle round pick. I don't think he's going for a 1 or 2 anymore. Maybe it's a 3 for Chris Jones. Let's call it a 3rd round pick for Chris Jones. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Again, I'm very open to it if you figure out the cap hit part of it, because $35 million that's kind of a non-negotiable for me for a 32-year-old defensive tackle. Okay, Adventure Dudes, appreciate the $10. Do you think we can get Maxx Crosby for a 2nd and DJ Moore? No, I do think that could be part of it, like a 2nd DJ and a 1st, or a 1st, a 3rd, and DJ, which was my proposal. It's going to be at least a 1st-round pick when you're talking about the picks part of it, right? So you're a pick short there, especially a 1st-round pick. So DJ Moore at most is worth a 3rd-round pick right now, as low as probably a 5th given his contract. So let's just meet in the middle, 4th. So you're saying a 2nd and a 4th for Maxx Crosby. I don't think that gets it done. I think you're going to have to throw a 1st in there. Okay, Noah Cash, if we won, what are the odds we win in Seattle? Probably not that high. I think heading into the game, the projected spread was going to be like Seattle -6. But hell, I would have loved to see. I would have loved to find out. I think what we learned with this Bears team, if they were just in it late in the game, they would have had a shot. But the reality is the Bears made too many mistakes. They didn't earn the right to play in the NFC Championship game. So I like Seattle this weekend against the Rams. I would have probably picked Seattle against the Bears too, if I'm being honest. I thought the Bears matched up better with the Rams, especially at home. But going to Seattle, that would have been a tough task, especially going up against that defense. Okay, today's show is sponsored by Ethos. When you bring a child into the world, your perspective changes overnight. That was certainly true for my wife and I when we had our son a couple of years ago. And for me, part of loving my family meant thinking about their future, even in uncomfortable ways. Life insurance is not a fun topic, but it's one you need to think about and talk about. And I'm so glad I found out about Ethos. I carry a lot of responsibility at home. If something happened to me, there are real consequences, like tuition, mortgage payments, everyday bills. Those things don't just disappear. Thinking about that used to feel overwhelming, but taking steps to protect my family financially changed that. That's why I got life insurance through Ethos. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. Ethos has no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy with it being 100% online. So protect your family with life insurance from Ethos right now by going to ethos.com/NFL Daily. Again, in as little as 10 minutes, you can get a free quote and up to $3 million in coverage. Ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. Keep it rolling on the mailbag. Patrick with the 5. Appreciate it, Patrick Bevington. I know we talked about these higher draft picks, but have you looked into the later rounds, really like Jalen Kilgore and Xavier Harris in this draft? Well, if you're watching live on Thursday, I got my first mock draft coming up, so stay tuned. Did all 7 rounds. I've looked into Xavier Harris a little bit. He's huge. He's like 6'8", 320 or something like that for Ole Miss. He's a pretty intriguing player. Jalen Kilgore is the second South Carolina corner. Brandon Cece is like the potential first-round pick, but Kilgore's been productive as well. I do wonder if corner is like a sneaky pick, like on day 3, that they could target, especially if they're a little unsure on Zay Frazier. So keep an eye on that. But, yeah, I mean, I've started the ball's getting rolling. I'm not going to say I'm super down the line, but as I do more of these mocks, as we start doing more research, and my guy Cullen Brown doing his Cullen draft crushes, we'll knock out some of these prospects, and it'll be fun to talk about. Michael Frazier with the 5. Hear me out. First, Romello Heights. Second, Lee Hunter. Third, Jacob Rodriguez. I'm a Red Raider, so I'm biased, but you can't tell me that it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'll be curious. Romello Heights, interesting. I've seen some people like him as a first-round pick. Some think he's more of a second. Bears picking late first. Maybe that's kind of the sweet spot. Lee Hunter, I know Cullen's really high on him. Jacob Rodriguez, third, fourth. I could see that. Again, with the Bears picking later in these rounds, third is probably more right. Yeah, I mean, Tech's got a lot of NFL talent this year, so I doubt they'll draft 3 Red Raiders on the trot, but they could certainly get 1 or 2 of them. That wouldn't shock me at all. Subscribe to the channel. We're dropping daily Bears content. I wish we were doing more live watch parties, but they'll be back next football season. We're still going live twice a week. More content as well. I've been kind of brain shopping some new workshopping, I should say, some new content ideas also, maybe some sporadic random live shows. So we'll keep you guys locked in here on the channel. All right, Crimson, what would you think about the Bears drafting Akheem Mesidor in the first or second round? I like Mesidor a lot. He's older, but he's a hell of a pass rusher. You could argue, just in terms of like plug-and-play pass rusher, he's, I don't know, top 3 in this draft. Ruben Bain is very good. Could Mesidor be better as a rookie? That wouldn't shock me. Obviously, I'm a big David Bailey guy as well. But, yeah, I think Mesidor's a very, very talented player. Aaron Acosta, do we see T.J. Parker in the draft as a Bears pick? Possibly. I think the Bears at 25 is probably like on the early end of his window, like mid-late first, early second. I could see anywhere from like 20 to 40 for him, somewhere in that range. If he has a huge combine pre-draft process, maybe he cracks the top 20. Heading into this year, he was considered a top 10 pick. Didn't have a great year, though, but still a good collegiate career. But, yeah, on paper, he profiles well as an edge rusher. Okay, name a player that the Bears should trade for this offseason. If you had to pick somebody, obviously there's a lot of Maxx Crosby chatter. Maybe you want Myles Garrett, or maybe there's someone else that we haven't talked about. Let us know down in the comment section below. All right, Fernando, in my opinion, I believe Maxx Crosby was more of a defensive threat than Hendrickson. Oh, totally agree. I mean, he's much better against the run. Hendrickson, maybe he's a tick better as a pass rusher, but coming off injury, I guess both are technically. So we'll see on that one. But Crosby's definitely more of a complete player. I would spend good money trying to get Crosby. Yeah, I mean, look, the debate here is, A, is Crosby even available? And if he is, how much do you have to give up to get him? Whereas with Hendrickson, you just sign him in free agency. Now, you'd have to outbid a few teams, but with Maxx, it's trade capital and pay him, and take on the contract and potentially give him a raise. Whereas with Hendrickson, it's like a 2-year, $50 million deal. So, there's pros and cons to all of it. But I definitely agree, and I think every general manager does, that Maxx Crosby is the better overall player. James, what is Cole Kmet's future with this team or in the league in general? I think he's here. I don't think he's going anywhere. My gut feeling, he signs a team-friendly 1 or 2 year extension. He's got 2 years left on his deal. It's let's call it 2 years, $12 million, 2 for 15. He's gotten his big contract, 4 for 50, which he's in the middle of. 2-year extension on top of it, got 4 years left, plays those out, and maybe he's just done at that point, right? He'll be in his, early 30s by then. He said before he doesn't feel like he's going to play into his mid-late 30s. Like, I could see him just being done at 32, 33. So he played a lot of snaps this year, blocks his ass off. He's a leader for this team. He's Chicago through and through. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Ben Johnson values him. 12 and 13 personnel looks. He's still very reliable in the passing game, even though he's not, as fluid or explosive as Colston Loveland. Those two guys vibed together very well. I expect Cole to be here, and I want him on this football team. Appreciate all the questions. If you got more, hit me up in my DMs at HGramNFL. I'm going to try to catch up on them all this weekend. The playoffs have been hectic, so I haven't caught up on everyone, but I will try to do that this weekend at HGramNFL, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can also find me on Facebook now. Just search Harrison Graham Chat Sports. You'll find me there, but I'm all over the place, so if you want to interact with me, go follow and hit me up.